Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Namaste. Now we will be moving on to the 7th chapter, Bhava Vyanjaka, the emotional and other psychological states. Bharata, after explaining the rasa concept in chapter 6, he now moves on to explore the concept on bhavas. Now let us see what is bhava. He says bhavadini vakshyamaha. I will now move on to bhavas. Bhava iti kasmat. Kim bhavayanti iti bhava. So what is this? Bhava iti kasmat. Why is it called as bhava? Is it because it pervades? It is called bhava? So the answer is Uchyate, he says, I will just tell now. Vak anga sattvopetan kavyartan bhavayanti iti bhavaha. Vak anga sattva upetan kavyartan bhavayanti iti bhava. Iti bhavaha. He replies, bhava is so called because through vak, anga and sattva, that is words, gestures and mind, it makes us feel. Through words, anga and sattva, that is body and mind. Through words, body and mind, it makes one to reciprocate the kavya artha. Then he adds, bhava iti karana sadhanam yata bhavitaha vasitaha krita iti anantarartham lokepi siddham aho hi anyonya gandhena rasena va sarvameva bhavitam api cha vyapyartam shlokas chatra bhavanti. So he gives the shlokas later. Before that he says that this is the cause for everything. He says it is the instrument for everything. That is the cause or the instrument which reciprocates from the inner feeling. That is bhava. So as the words bhavita, vasita and krita are synonymous, he says this is the causation. Bhava is the causation or the instrument which creates the feeling within you, which is reciprocated. The kavya artha is reciprocated to the audience. Of course, while reciprocating through different abhinayas, it becomes abhinaya. Through various angika, vachika, ahariya, satvika. But here it causes, it infuses the feeling within you. And it is expressed through the abhinaya to the audience. He says this is bhavita, that is pervades. As one another's juice pervade or the smell pervade, like that, this pervades within you and it's brought out from within your mind. So, it is an instrument that causes the sentiment. So, this is the state, this is translated as state, and it moves on to sentiment. That is the experience by the audience. That is the rasa, or which this is the bhava that is pervading within you, which causes the rasa in the audience. For this, we need to have the other elements. We should know about the other elements such as vibhava, anubhava, vyabhichari bhava, and especially the base dormant feeling, which is sthai bhava, and the feeling which is emoted and presented as an involuntary expression, which is satvika bhava, and finally when it reaches audience, it is abhinaya. So Bharata gives this in a shloka. Vibhavair ahrito yo arthastvanubhavena gamyate vag anga satvabhinayaihi sa bhava iti sangitaha. What is this? Manmohan Ghosh says, when the meanings presented by the determinants and consequents, the determinants are vibhavas and the consequents are anubhavas, are made to pervade, gamyate, they are made to pervade, where? To in the heart of the spectators. Vaganga sattva abhinayaihi sa bhava iti smritaha. So, it pervades in the heart of the spectators. They are called bhava. So, that is how which is felt within you is also felt within the heart of the spectators. But the actor reaches the stage of rasa, but as an actor he does not experience the rasa. Maybe after the performance he can, but not while performing. But as an audience, he feels the bhava and also experiences the rasa at the same point of time. When the actor moves on from the feeling to the state of relishing the feeling as a rasa in the minds of the audience. The next sloka says, Vaganga mukaragaischa satvena abhinayena cha kaver antargatam bhavam bhavayan bhava uchyate. What is this bhava? Kaver antargatam bhavam. What is that? The idea is, as in this, the inner idea of the playwright is made to pervade, of course, again in the mind of the spectators. By means of what? Vakanga sattvopetan. Here it is, Vakanga mukaragaischa sattvena. Not only the vak, words, anga, the body language, mukaraga, which is the color of the face, the facial, the changes in the face, facial expressions, which is brought out through the inner feelings. Sattva, also the sattva, the inner mind. So, color of the face and representation of the sattva is called bhava. So, it is kaver antargatam bhavam. So, when the playwright starts penning the drama or a kavya, anything, poetry or anything for that matter, first he has a feeling which has to be portrayed in his composition. He knows what he is going to write. Like when we know Valmiki saw the two birds and one bird shot dead, the karuna was the feeling, the shoka was the feeling in him. Shoka was a bhava in him, which came out as the verse and which led to Ramayana, story of Rama. So like that, kaver antargatam bhavam vag anga mukaraga sattva. It has to represent vag, words, gestures, bodily gestures, facial color and the feelings. And this has to reach the audience mind. And then only they can relish the rasa. So this is the idea of bhava. So that is why earlier chapter we saw they must be sahridayas. The persons who are samana hridayas, or they have to have the same caliber of mind. This shloka says, Nana abhinaya sambandhan bhavayanti rasanimam yasmat tasmadami bhavaha vigneya natyayoktribihi. What is this? As they cause the sentiments, they cause the rasas relating to various kinds of abhinayas, that is the histrionic representation, to pervade in the heart of the spectators. To pervade. They are called bhavas by those who produce the drama. So, the natya yoktribihi vigneya bhavaha. They term this as bhava. Why? Nana abhinaya sambandhan bhavayanti rasanimam. So, they cause the sentiments. They cause the rasas. The bhavas are the causation for the rasas, which are related to various abhinayas. Nana abhinaya sambandhan. So that is how this rasa is relished, he says. Now, Bharata moves on to the term vibhava. What is vibhava? Again, as I am going through the text, I am only giving the necessary details which is there in this text of Bharata, in this Bharata's Natya Shastra. Though there are so many authors who have followed Bharata and expanded these ideas, now I am following this text of Natya Shastra to understand the basic concept given by Bharata. First, our understanding is to be from this source. Then you can analyze on the comparisons, and you can also analyze on the various thoughts of various scholars, various authors of different centuries, how it was understood during the period of Bharata. Because the term Bhava, even now, it is understood more as the facial expression, even by many of the dancers. So it's not the facial expression, it is the feeling that which arises from your mind and pervades within you for you to improvise, or within the audience for the audience to expand themselves and reach to the stage of relishing the rasa. So these terms sometimes are used in different contexts. So let us now understand from this text what are vibhavas. Atra vibhava iti kasmat uchyate. Vibhavo vijnanarthaha. Vibhavaha karanam nimittam heturiti paryayaha. As already it was explained in the prose paragraph, again he details this for vibhava also. Vibhava karanam nimittam hetu. Again the cause. These are the paryayas. These are the synonyms. Vibhavyante anena vag anga sattva abhinaya iti vibhavaha. Yatha vibhavitam vijnatam ityanarthantaram, he says. Now let us see the meaning of these lines. Why the word vibhava is used? Vibhava iti kasmat uchyate. Vijnanarthaha. It is used for the sake of clear knowledge. Vijnana arthaha. And it is a synonym of karanam, nimittam and hetu. That is, we have already seen cause, the karana, a particular sense of nimitta karana, and the hetu. All these are synonyms. Then he says, as words, gestures and representations of sattva are determined by this, vibhavyate. Earlier one is bhava, a common term. Here it is, these are determined. Vibhavyate. So it is called vibhava. Vibhavita also means the same artha, vijnata. It is clearly known. So there is a vishesha, the prefix, which says it is very clear that bhava is the cause, but even that is determined by this vibhava. So it is called vibhava. The shloka says, bahavo artha vibhavyante vag anga abhinayashritaha anena yasmat tena ayam vibhava iti samyitaha. Bahavo artha, as many things are determined, vibhavyate. Through what? Through vag anga abhinaya ashritaha. Through words, gestures and the representation of sattva. Because they are determined, it is called vibhava. Here, if you see the term aharya does not occur. It is to be taken as the fourth abhinaya, which is not from the person. All these angika, vachika and satvika is from the actor, from the dancer. But aharya, ahara, you take it from outside and wear. Though it also communicates, it is also one of the abhinaya which communicates. It is from outside. The actor grabs the costumes, the makeup, the props, and that is always taken as the abhinaya which is more external. So all these three are always mentioned. Vag, Anga, Sattva. So we understand that vibhavas are determinants. Then we move on to anubhavas. Bharata defines anubhava, of course, in prose and in shloka form. Ata anubhava iti kasmat uchyate. So everything is in question and answer pattern. Like now we do, right? As we ask questions ourselves and get the answers. So like that he has given, because the sages question Bharata and he gives these answers. Anubhavyate anena vag anga sattvaihi krito abhinaya iti. Then he moves on to the shloka. He says, now, why is the word anubhava used? Is the question. Because this reciprocates, anubhavayanti, of course, to the spectators. They make them feel afterwards, after understanding the concept, the feeling is from the actor, it is exhibited, and for the spectator, it is realized. He is the person who is the opponent. He realizes that particular feeling. This is the effect. Earlier one is the cause and this is the effect. That is the determinant and this is the consequent. Vibhava, anubhava, which follows the bhava. So the representation is by words, body language and the mental feeling. So here it is called anubhava. The feeling is exhibited. Vaganga abhinayeneha yatastvartho anubhavyate. वाग अंगोपांग संयुक्तः त्वनुभवस्ततः स्मृतः. So what does this line say? Vag anga abhinayeneha yet this, because of the vag and anga and abhinaya, as in the play, anubhavyate, it is made to be felt or it is expressed, it follows by means of words and gestures. It is called anubhava and it relates to the word and the movements of the body. Here he has not used the word sattva because sattva is there in the mind, it is reciprocated, and through vak anga the sattva is reciprocated. So this is called anubhava, which follows the feeling. So this is how vibhava is taken as a determinant and anubhava as a consequent. Now he brings in a verse which is given as Lokasvabhava samsiddha lokayatranugaminaha anubhava vibhavascha nyayastvabhinayaihi buddhaihi. He says the determinants and consequents, the vibhavas and the anubhavas, are known by wise and which are also created by human nature and are in accordance with the ways of human nature and with the ways of the world. So whatever is happening in the world is vibhava. Whatever is represented is anubhava. This is natural, very natural. But this is performed on the stage as a natya. That gives the natya rasotpatti to the audience. Now Bharata moves on to the sthai bhavas, which are 8 in number, satvika bhavas, which are 8 in number, and vyabhichari bhavas, which are 33 in number. So the concept of vibhava and anubhava, it is only concept related. It is not numbered. When it determines a cause, it is vibhava. When it is exhibited, when it follows the bhava, it is anubhava. So when you understand the sai, the satvika and the vyabhichari, you will know that each and every bhava will be having a vibhava and an anubhava. A feeling which determines and how it is represented. That is why Bharata says it is known to the world. So why should I expand on that, he says. But of course, the playwright, Kavena Antargatam Bhavam, earlier shloka, the playwright should know, should have that bhava, sthai in mind. And he has to create the vibhavas for that particular sthai through his writing. Because he cannot just go with the story without giving the vibhavas. They are the causes. If he wants to talk about rati between a heroine and a hero, Nayika and a Nayaka, then he has to write about the vibhavas which created that rati in that Nayika or that rati in that Nayaka. then how they reciprocated that rati, how they expressed that, and the reciprocation, how it has to be presented. And then comes the Drishya Kavya. When you perform this on stage, then it is the director's role to take the vibhavas which is given in the book, which is given in the lyrics, to be presented on the stage, to be added on the stage as stage props or the other elements, the cause, it might be the character themselves, then the anubhavas on the characters, on the actors, which has to be brought out by the actors. And then it has to lead and move to the audience. And that is where the audience, who are also Sahridayas, who are also those who relish the particular bhava, and who also have the sthayi, the pervading sthayi in them, the bhava which is there, the feeling which is there, which is supported or brought to notice through the vibhavas, the determinants which determine the bhava, and the consequence which are presented on the stage, which are also felt, understood by the audience. And of course, the abhinaya, which comes from the stage, from the actors, which are seen, and finally experiencing the rasa happens in the audience. So that is how this process is a cycle. That's why even in the earlier chapter, we saw one verse which talks about is bhava from rasa or rasa from bhava. So it's a vicious circle, moves on and on. But Bharata says, though it is a circle, the bhava only creates the rasa. Of course, when the rasa is experienced, the bhava will be there within you. That is what he says.